happens inside your brain when you die? Well, the answer is kinda beautiful. In 2016, an elderly man unexpectedly passed away while undergoing a brain scan. But because of this, scientists discovered that portions of his brain remained active even after his heart stopped.
Today we're looking at TikToks that expose the power of the mind.
Nothing happens in the body except it first takes place in the mind. All disease is a lack of peace. No matter what the problem is, no matter what the difficulty is, it's a group of negative thoughts charged with fear and superstition, lodged in the recesses of the subconscious mind.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you to all the channel members for support. Let's try to hit 3,000 likes this video. Let's try to round up the video so it can get pushed to more people. You know what I'm saying? I took a little break this month, so I'm trying to get back into the algorithm. So if you guys could help with that, I would totally love that. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're still on the road to 100K, so let's go.
These are real human brains, and they came from individuals who directly consented to donate their body to science after death. The brain is connected to this long tail called your spinal cord. Messages travel up and down the spinal cord at over 250 miles per hour. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebrae in your backbone. These yellow things represent nerves branching off your spinal cord. This is called the dura. It's a connective tissue that surrounds your brain and spinal cord and helps protect your central nervous system. The human brain is divided into two halves, and each half contains 4 lobes. The frontal lobe is responsible for higher level thinking and voluntary movement. The parietal lobe processes sensory information like taste and touch. The occipital lobe is primarily responsible for vision, and the temporal lobe is responsible for processing hearing. This part on the back of the brain is called the cerebellum. The cerebellum helps you stay balanced and also assists in fine motor activity. Finally, teenage brains are not fully developed. The human brain reaches full maturity around age 25. Now you know. Follow for more science videos.
Putting monks in an MRI machine. What does a brain look like from somebody who's been meditating for a long time? It looks completely different. There's this process called gyrification, which is the process by which the brain creates its folds. So like the sulcus, which is the little valley, and the gyrus, which is like the little hills. In species that are less complex than us as humans, brain is a little bit smoother. You also see this in, fetal alcohol syndrome. So if there's been something that's happened to the brain during development, that the brain is a lot smoother. There's not as many people who meditate. There are more grooves. And that's associated more like higher order cognitive functions.
The brain, your body's command center. It controls your thoughts, emotions, movements, and memories, all while running automatically to keep you alive. Every second, billions of neurons fire, creating electrical signals that allow you to think, move, and feel. The brain's different regions work together seamlessly. The frontal lobe for decision-making, the cerebellum for coordination, and the hippocampus for memory. But factors like stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, or injury can disrupt its function, affecting your focus, mood, and overall health. The good news? You can protect and strengthen your brain. Eat brain-boosting foods, stay physically active, get quality sleep, and challenge your mind with learning and puzzles. Your brain is the most powerful organ in your body. Take care of it. The brain. Think smart, live smart.
Nothing happens in the body except it first takes place in the mind. All disease is a lack of peace. No matter what the problem is, no matter what the difficulty is, it's a group of negative thoughts charged with fear and superstition, lodged in the recesses of the subconscious mind. All forms of therapy are good. The quickest, surest, safest way is prayer. This is why you're told the truth shall set thee free. Prayer is very simple. It's filling your subconscious mind with the truths of God, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And these truths neutralize and obliterate all the negative patterns. Then the embodiment or the trouble must disappear. You eradicate the cause. The lower is subject to the higher vibration. Hundreds of thousands of cells are dying every second right here. As you spiritualize your thoughts, the cells take on a spiritual overtone. They no longer take over the disease soap patterns. That's the basis of all healing. You have a new body every 11 months. The body you're going to have the next few months is in the grocery stores.
There's a law in physics that basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought. So if you do that 17 seconds, for 68 seconds, then momentum begins to occur. Let's say that I'm normally, all of our emotions have a frequency to it. So if I'm in despair or anger or worry, all of those are lower, denser frequencies. You get into things like contentment, happiness, joy, love. Those are higher, faster frequencies. So let's say that I normally live in contentment. And that's my set point, because that's where I live. I think about that all the time. That's what my makeup is, that sort of thing. So I'm driving down the highway. All of a sudden a car cuts me off and I get angry. So now I'm in the lower, denser frequencies. And so then I go back to the office and I'm telling all my colleagues, here's what happened. This knucklehead cut me off. Go home, tell my wife that. What am I doing? I'm vibrating angry energy. So I go to the supermarket and there is somebody in line. I have 3 items and I'm getting in line and somebody ahead of me has 38 items. And the guy that's running the cash register, it's his first day and he's not doing very well. He's very slow. Is that a coincidence? No, it's something for me to get angry about. So I'm attracting into my world whatever it is that I'm vibrating.
I'll give you 3 things now that will start rewiring neural pathways.
Please, go.
Get up in the morning.
Get up early in the morning.
Not early, just get up in the morning. If you get up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, go straight into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, start brushing with the left. Look into the mirror. Now we're talking to the subconscious brain. Eye to eye in the mirror and say, I love you 10 times. When you finish that, let's get some oxygen inside you to start the day. Exaggerated breaths to start the day.
How many breaths?
I always tell my guys do 25 in the morning, 25 lunchtime, 25 in the evening.
Okay, so left-handed teeth brushing.
Yes.
Look straight in the eye in the mirror. I love you, I love you, I love you 10 times.
Yes.
And exaggerated breaths, 25.
Will change your life.
Fun fact, I actually saw that video last night and I tried to do that this morning and I failed. I don't know what it is, but I have this really bad habit of just instantly waking up and checking through every single notification I get on my phone. Yeah, it's tragic. There's been days where I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna wake up and the first hour or 2, no phone. And I'd be on my phone way less throughout the day. It's crazy. It's like when I go an hour or 2 right after wake up without being on my phone, it's like my brain is less dependent on it.
Scientist that studies the brain, and I want to share with you something that we totally don't understand. The brain can process tons of different information. Everything you see, whatever you hear, things that you smell. This is all pretty easy for the brain because these are just physical signals that your brain is detecting. But my crazy question is, when you close your eyes and you think of something random, go ahead and pause the video and do that. You just caused your own brain to activate in a random way that's associated with whatever you thought of. It wasn't reacting to a signal from your environment. It was responding to a request that originated within itself. So my question is, where in the brain is this request for randomness originating from?
Your brain produces approximately 70,000 thoughts per day, which is around 2,900 thoughts per hour. It could also store up to 2.5 petabytes of information, which is equivalent to around 3 million hours of TV shows or 1 million high-resolution photos. The brain can generate up to 23 watts of energy, enough to power a light bulb. Despite making up only 2% of your body weight, the brain consumes around 20% of the body's energy. The brain contains approximately 100,000 miles of blood vessels, which supply it with nutrients and oxygen. Each neuron can have up to 10,000 connections to other neurons, resulting in as many as 1,000 trillion connections in the brain. The brain contains around 100 billion neurons and weighs approximately 3 pounds. The amygdala, which is the part of the brain responsible for emotions, can process information in just 20 milliseconds, which is faster than the time it takes for us to consciously perceive something.
According to psychology, your mind is always searching for proof of what you believe. If you tell yourself that things are always going wrong, your brain will focus on every setback, every small inconvenience, and use them as evidence to confirm that narrative. It's not that life is objectively worse. It's that your brain is doing its job, seeking to reinforce the story you've chosen to tell. But here's the key. It works the other way too. If you start asking yourself, how can things get better? Or what good is happening in my life? Your brain will begin to look for those answers. It will seek out the small victories, the moments of growth, and the opportunities for change, gradually shifting your perception toward hope and possibility. This is confirmation bias at work, but it doesn't have to be negative. Your mind is simply doing what it's wired to do. Find evidence that supports the reality you believe in. So, be mindful of the story you're writing. The narrative you create shapes the lens through which you see your life. Be intentional about how you frame your experiences, because what you tell yourself today will be the world you see tomorrow.
Dude, that is super true. A lot of people be coming to me sometimes like, dude, I can't do this or I can't do that. And I be telling them, like, if you really think so, then you're right. You can't do it. But if you reframe how you think sometimes and just be like, yeah, you know, I'll try, at least at most say I'll try, then yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's a good chance that you'll get it done.
I just realized something and I high-key feel stupid for not realizing it sooner. So as you know, the human brain is made up of about 86 billion nerve cells called neurons. And these neurons talk to each other by firing electrochemical signal messages. You still with me? I swear it's gonna make sense. Well, fun fact, together, your neurons create and send more messages than all the phones in the world. And combined, all the neurons in our brain generate enough electricity to power a low-watt light bulb. So the whole thing of a cartoon character having an idea and a light bulb popping up, yeah, that's where that came from. Which sounds obvious, but I guess not, because I literally just put that together now, so the more I know.
Here is today's disturbing fact. Studies suggest your brain doesn't necessarily stop all of its activity the moment you are clinically dead, as was the case with one patient where up to 30 minutes of brain activity was recorded after death. You might literally hear yourself declared dead.
Here's a picture of the average human brain seeing a homeless person. That part right there lighting up, that's called the triceptica. And the triceptica is the part of the brain that conceptualizes poverty. Okay? Now, let's take a look at my brain observing the same event. Anyone notice a difference? That's right. The triceptica is not lighting up. And that's because when I was 8 years old, I was hit by a bus, permanently damaging my triceptica, so much so that I can no longer process poverty. I don't tip waiters, not just because I think it's wrong, but because I'm physically unable to do it.
Did you know when you're falling asleep at night and your body jerks? This is called the hypnic jerks. And this happens because when you're falling asleep and you're really tired, if your body is falling asleep faster than your brain jolts you awake because it thinks you're dying. Brain facts. The brain's storage capacity is estimated to be equivalent to about 1 million gigabytes. That's like having a supercomputer in your head. There are actually more connections in your brain than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. It's estimated there are 1 quadrillion neural connections in our brains. Ever wonder why you can't tickle yourself? It's because your brain anticipates the sensation and essentially cancels it out. This is due to the cerebellum, which predicts sensations when your own movement causes them. Did you know the smell is the sense most closely linked to memory? This is because the olfactory bulb, which processes smells, is directly connected to the amygdala and hippocampus, areas of the brain that handle emotion and memory.
Human data shows when people do something that they don't want to do, this brain area gets bigger. So when we do things that we don't want to do, this part of our brain grows. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is small in obese people. It gets bigger when they diet. And it's larger in athletes, and it is especially large and grows larger in people that see themselves as challenged and overcome some challenge. In people who live a very long time, this area seems to keep its size. Scientists view anterior mid-cingulate cortex as not just the seat of willpower, but actually the seat of the will to live. And we can build up this area, but as quickly as we can build it up, when we stop investing in doing something, doing the things that are hard for us, it begins to shrink.
Here is a scientifically proven fact about how your mind works. If you punish your brain for doing the wrong thing, it will stop doing the specific thing you punished it for. But if you reward your brain for doing the right thing, it will keep doing the specific thing you rewarded it for. And so, if you try to change your behavior by punishing yourself, you might stop doing the bad thing you were doing, but whatever you do next will be completely unpredictable. Because punishment only tells you what not to do. But if you focus on rewarding yourself for doing the right thing, you will predictably do more and more of the thing you want to keep doing. So you can keep hating yourself if you want, but it's completely ineffective at getting yourself to become the person you want to become.
If you removed every single organ in your body except your brain, and somehow managed to keep your brain alive by supplying it with the nutrients it needs, you might think that you would feel nothing. But in reality, that's not true. You see, your brain depends on sensory input from the rest of the body. So if you removed your organs, you would live in darkness with no sound, no pain, and no sense of the world. However, because you have already experienced sensory information before, parts of your brain, like the language area, are already organized. This means you would be able to recall memories and imagine what the world looked like.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about. 1. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery or death to you. For example, when inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house, your brain can make you stop breathing and pass out. 2. If you're stuck in the middle of a cold place, your brain will make you fall asleep to conserve energy and may never wake up again. 3. If your leg is torn off by a bear, the brain releases adrenaline so you can save yourself even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. 4. The brain can start to eat itself during periods of extreme starvation. It breaks down its own tissues to survive, leading to irreversible damage. 5. After the loss of a limb, the brain can still send pain signals as if the limb is still there. This pain is very real even though the limb no longer exists. 6. Cotard syndrome is a rare mental illness where the brain makes the person believe they are dead, don't exist, or that their organs are rotting away even though they are physically healthy. 7. Your brain can create false memories that feel as real as true ones. This can lead you to believe events happened that never actually occurred, distorting your perception of reality.
I did also hear that your brain eats itself if you have sleep deprivation. So that means if you're sleep deprived, your brain also starts to eat itself, which is actually kind of interesting. Sugar also rots your brain, fun fact.
You know who gets brain trauma? People ride jet skis. The bouncing of jet skis.
Oh, yeah?
It shakes your brain inside your head anytime you're getting hit in the head. It's bad. Like, tennis players get concussions. People get concussions from playing soccer. Like, I know a lot about head trauma. I've experienced a bunch myself, as I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I know you did from Tim Kennedy.
He lifted me up by my neck, choking me out with my feet off the ground.
And then
That's
let
so
you
dope.
go.
And they dropped me from up
you
there.
on your head. That's so
and my
bad
head
for
bounced like a
you. You could have
basketball.
died, for sure. People die from that all the
the
time.
back of the head's more soft, too.
Oh my
huh?
God, what's super dangerous.
Yeah.
Like anytime you fall and you hit your head, this is how you have to think about it.
I'm not going to do that again.
Please don't. Don't think of it as hitting your head. Think of it as you getting hit by the world.
If you believe something's going to be hard for you, it's going to be hard for you. If you believe something's going to be a piece of cake and super easy for you, it's going to be super easy for you. Whatever you're constantly believing and assuming is what will be. I don't think people realize your brain is so powerful. You can literally gaslight yourself into thinking that every single thing that you do is easy for you. Every single new skill, every single hard thing comes easy for you, and that's what will be. Truly. I feel like people always hear everyone talk about mindset and shifting your thoughts to be positive and think like it's all this talk and it's so stupid, but truly, rewiring your brain correctly will take you very far in life. I feel like we always think about things that are deemed as challenging or hard, and we tell ourselves immediately, I can't do that, it's too hard. Like, it's not going to work. I'm just not capable of doing that. But we're not even giving ourselves a chance to prove the opposite. Your mindset is everything. If you constantly believe that you can't do hard things, your life sucks, you're never going to go anywhere, then that's what will be. Control your mindset, shift it to be positive, and watch your life change.
Have you ever smelt something familiar and then it immediately brings about these vivid memories of somebody in your past, or memories of your past, your childhood, or perhaps you smelt somebody's perfume and then it immediately reminds you of somebody else or a time in your past when you had them in your life? What's happening there? Well, something incredible happens. Molecules from the thing you're smelling go through the air, they travel up to your nose, or get trapped by mucus, and those molecules from the thing you're smelling bind to neurons or receptors in your nose, which then activates proteins in your neurons, which opens up ion channels, which lets in calcium ions and sodium ions, which then generates an electric impulse that gets sent through your neurons, your axons, through nerve endings in your head into the brain, into parts like the amygdala, which processes emotions, or the hippocampus, which kind of generates memories, and the piriform cortex, which processes the smells itself. So that's how you smell things. Your brain itself is generating the smells by activating the particular neurons, sets, or configurations of neurons called engrams in the brain, in different parts of the brain. And the more you smell that thing, the more you're exposed to that smell, the more activated those neurons are, the stronger the connections, the different structural changes happens to those neurons, and those engrams are stored in your brain. So over time, it becomes a long-term memory that is stored in many different parts of the brain, not just the hippocampus. Memories are stored in the parts of the brain that generate those things. For example, with sounds, you'll have memories stored in the auditory cortex. For visuals, memories will get stuck in your visual cortex. But the reason why you feel that emotional, like nostalgic feeling when you smell something from your childhood is because smells in particular are very correlated to the amygdala. They're very direct to the amygdala. So you have that emotional bond, that emotional connection with the thing you're smelling. So that's how memory works. Every time you smell something, specific configurations of neurons are being activated. And after repeated exposure of that smell or that sight or that sound, your brain just stores those memories long term in those particular configurations. And when I'm just sitting here and I'm recollecting something about my past, the prefrontal cortex is signaling my hippocampus to stir those same memories again, to bring back and retrieve that information from those neurons in the brain. So there's a very tangible and physical aspect to thoughts. In fact, when you're thinking of anything in your head, what's happening is you're activating your neurons to generate those electrochemical impulses, which then you are directly experiencing. You're experiencing everything in your life. The things you see, the things you hear, the things you smell. All these are activations of the brain itself. The brain generates this collage, this map of reality. And we're experiencing life itself through this very intricate electrochemical machinery in the brain and the nervous system. So each of us carries with us in our heads little internalized imprints of what the external world is like. Little representations of what the 3- or 4-dimensional world is like around us. Sights and smells and visions and space and time.
Psychological truth that you must know. Sigmund Freud said this. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Beware of people who seem too virtuous, who seem too good. They might be hiding something. And on the flip side, just remember somebody who's rough around the edges. Someone who's always not the absolute nicest. They might be your most loyal friend in time of need.
5 cool facts about the brain. Number 1, when a person is heavily intoxicated, the brain can't form new memories. So it's not that they forgot the memories next day, they just didn't form them. Number 2, the brain is composed of 75% water. So when you're sweating a lot, your brain is actually shrinking. Number 3, the brain is the fattiest organ in the body. It's composed of 60% fat. Number 4, the brain continues to develop until you're 25 years old. And lastly, 95% of our decisions are subconscious, meaning that the majority of our actions and behaviors is due to brain activity that is beyond our conscious awareness.
What happens inside your brain when you die? Well, the answer is kinda beautiful. In 2016, an elderly man unexpectedly passed away while undergoing a brain scan. But because of this, scientists discovered that portions of his brain remained active even after his heart stopped. Well, for 30 seconds after technically dying, his brain sent out a final burst of activity, similar to the brain waves associated with dreaming and recalling memories, suggesting our final farewell might be reliving our favorite moments.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
You've got to believe it. And if there's no belief, it ain't going to happen. See, when you believe it, you're encased in the idea. You fuse with the idea. And that makes all kinds of things happen.
You do become what you think about most of the time. You also become what you say to yourself most of the time.
Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not a philosophy. This is physics.
The brain transmits and receives frequency. Those frequencies affects physical matter in the universe at the quantum level.
What is the one spy trick you would teach everyone that they can use instantly?
The most important spy trick to change everything immediately is something called perception versus perspective. We all look at the world through our own perception. My dad used to tell me perception is reality. I was arguing this with him when I was 14 years old. I told you so, Dad, you're still wrong. But perception is your interpretation of the world around you. But it's unique only to you. There's no advantage in your perception. That's why so many people find themselves arguing all the time, trying to convince other people of their own perception. Perspective is observing the world from outside of yourself, or even more powerful, you sit in the seat of the person opposite you. When you shift places and get out of your own perception and into someone else's perspective, now you're thinking like them, which is giving you an informational advantage. But you know what they're all doing? Everyone else out there is trapped in their own perception.
Just hours ago, a plane came down at London's Southend Airport shortly after takeoff. At the moment, we don't know a lot, including how many casualties there are, but we do know the plane was a Beechcraft B-200 Super King Air, and it was taking off from runway 05 at the time of the incident. This flight radar data shows the plane leave the ground and then immediately turn left shortly before crashing. It came down near the Rochford 100 Golf Club, and this video shows the perspective of golfers when they got the aftermath on camera. Like I said, beyond that, we don't know much. Follow for updates.
Your brain is creating your reality. You'd fail at beginner tasks like walking, let alone advanced skills like ping pong, if your brain shows you what was really in front of you. Let's slow down time and see what happens when you try to hit this ball. The light passes from the ball to your eye in nanoseconds, but it then becomes electrical impulses that are only processed after 100 milliseconds. This means your brain can't show you where the ball is right now, only where it was. 100 milliseconds seems like nothing, but try and hit the speeding ball this way and you'd miss it every time. So instead, your brain takes its location, speed and direction and creates a fake ball. It also makes multiple predictions of where the ball will be, sending orders to your muscles for a range of scenarios, and ultimately decides on a single most likely future. By the time you see the ball and decide to hit it a certain way, your body has already hit it back. Even when it comes to your emotional reactions, your brain is constantly making predictions about reality. To find out what's really going on, watch our full video.
One time I put into ChatGPT, if you were the devil, if you were Satan, how would you stop someone from being successful? Yeah. And ChatGPT said, number one, I would fill their mind with doubt and fear. Number two, I would make them focus on instant gratification. Number three, I would surround them with negative influence. Number four, I would make sure that they remain comfortable. Number five, I would make them think that they had to plan everything. I would use procrastination as an advantage. Number six, I would erode their confidence. Number seven, I would make them focus externally, not internally. Number eight, I would give them poor habits. Number nine, I would remove the sense of urgency. So obviously, if that's what Satan would do to stop you, then all you have to do is reverse that.
Wow, so your brain doesn't really know the difference between, say that again?
Between something that happened in real life or something that you strongly visualize.
So you could create enough of a visualization for yourself if you really were to powerfully start to focus on it and do that and build that ability to visualize something that your brain at one point would have to think it's so true that the world would meet you and put it into your life.
I became obsessed with the power of the mind. Meditation, visualization, and just realizing how powerful our minds actually are, like how we really do paint our world with our thoughts and our level of self-belief.
I've always visualized better. I always visualize good things. I always visualize victory, success, abundance. I visualized it all and it's all happening.
You can create your life. You can manifest your life into something amazing that you want to do on this beautiful Monday. And I know what I want to do, and I'm doing it, and we are as well.
Every dictatorship has one obsession, and that's it. So in ancient Rome, they gave the people bread and circuses. They kept the populace busy with entertainment. But other dictatorships use other strategies to control ideas. the knowledge. How do they do that? Lower education, they limit culture, censor information, they censor any means of individual expression. And it's important to remember this, that this is a pattern that repeats itself throughout history.
Yeah, damn, those were some very powerful messages, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the big thing to take away from this whole video is that what you believe is most likely what possibly could happen in reality, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a mindset like good things happen to me, a lot of good things come my way, then 9 times out of 10 a lot of good things will come your way. But if you're in that negative mindset like, oh, this can never happen to me, this can never do, you know what I'm saying? Then you're going to attract a lot of negative things.
Thank you all.